Cho. He grew up picking avocados in the mountains of Michoacan. He dropped out of school at 10, and by 14, he was guarding marijuana fields for men who would never learn his name. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes was born in 1966 in Aguililla, Mexico, one of 5 brothers raised in dirt floor poverty. No money, no education, no way out, so he made one. In his late teens, he crossed illegally into California. What he found wasn't a El Mencho. He grew up picking avocados in the mountains of Michoacan. He dropped out of school at 10, and by 14, he was guarding marijuana fields for men who would never learn his name. Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes was born in 1966 in Aguililla, Mexico, one of 5 brothers raised in dirt floor poverty. No money, no education, no way out, so he made one. In his late teens, he crossed illegally into California. What he found wasn't a better life. It was the drug trade. He was arrested in San Francisco at 19 for stolen property and a loaded gun, then again for selling narcotics, then again on federal heroin charges alongside his brother. He recognized the undercover cops before Abraham did, but it was too late. To protect his brother from life in prison, he pleaded guilty and took 5 years. After 3, he was deported. He was 30 and done playing small. He joined the police in Jalisco, then quit and joined the Milenio cartel. He married the sister of a cartel clan leader and started climbing. When his bosses were arrested or killed, he didn't mourn. He reorganized, and in 2010, he founded the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. Under his command, the CJNG shot down military helicopters, assassinated judges, and bombed government buildings with drones. The U.S. put a $15 million bounty on his head. Few photos of him even existed. He moved like a ghost, protected by 400 gunmen and landmines. On February 22, 2026, Mexican Special Forces stormed his hideout in Tapalpa, Jalisco. He'd hosted a party the night before. His guards weren't on alert. El Mencho fled into the woods, wounded. Soldiers found him in the undergrowth. He was airlifted out, but he died before the helicopter landed. Within hours, burning cars blocked highways in 20 states. Guadalajara went silent. The avocado farmer's son had become the most wanted man in the Western Hemisphere, and even in death, he brought a country to its knees. Kunsa. His father died when he was 3. His mother died 2 years later, and the only education he ever received was how to fight and how to grow opium. Kunsa was born in 1934 in Loima, a remote village in Burma's Shan state. Half Chinese and half Shan, raised by his grandfather. He never learned to read or write. By 16, he had formed his first armed gang. By his 20s, he was training with Chinese nationalist soldiers who had fled into Burma and learning the opium business from the inside. In 1963, the Burmese government made him a deal. Fight the local rebels, and you can use our roads to traffic opium. He accepted. Within years, he was one of the most powerful militia leaders in the region. But in 1967, a rival ambush nearly destroyed him. The Laotian army bombed his mule train and stole his opium. Then, in 1969, the Burmese arrested him for treason and locked him in Mandalay prison for 5 years. But it didn't break him. He read Sun Tzu's Art of War behind bars and came out sharper than before. After his release, he rebuilt everything. He relocated to Thailand and built the Mong Thai Army, 20,000 soldiers, heroin refineries, and a network that supplied almost half the heroin entering the United States. The DEA called his product 90% pure. The U.S. put a $2 million bounty on his head. He offered twice to sell his entire opium crop to Western governments in exchange for aid, but both times they refused. By the mid-90s, rival armies closed in. In 1996, he cut a secret deal with the Burmese military. Surrender the army, and in return, no extradition, no trial, and no prison. He moved to Yangon with his fortune and 4 teenage mistresses. He later died in 2007, age 73. Diabetes, heart disease, and old age. In his bed, unpunished. The Opium King never faced a single day in court. Felix Mitchell. He grew up in the projects on 69th Avenue in East Oakland. No money, no way out. So he built one, with heroin. Felix Wayne Mitchell Jr. was born in 1954 in Oakland, California. He dropped out of high school and, still a teenager, formed a crew from his block, the 69 Mob. What started as kids running petty crimes became the first large-scale street-level drug operation in the Bay Area. He connected with kingpins in Los Angeles and Detroit and built a heroin empire stretching across California and the Midwest. At his peak, the '69 mob pulled in up to $1 million a month. He branded his product, stamped envelopes marked 69, and put children on every corner as lookouts and runners. If a rival moved in on his territory, the response was a drive-by. Mitchell didn't just run the drug trade. He wrote the playbook that the streets would follow for decades. With the money, Mitchell lived like royalty. Rolls-Royces, jewelry, lavish parties, but he also gave back, like turkeys to families and funding youth programs. In East Oakland, he became a folk hero. Before sentencing, he told his probation officer, "I like money, I like jewelry, and I like fine cars, and I went out and got them. Isn't that the American way?" The law caught up in 1985, convicted under federal kingpin statutes, life without parole. The judge called it a reign of terror. On August 21, 1986, 2 days before his 32nd birthday, a fellow inmate stabbed him multiple times in his cell at Leavenworth. He died that night over a $10 debt. His funeral made national news. A horse